everyone, how's it going? Name's XV, and welcome back to another Apex Legends video, where I have some gameplay of Apex Season 5. The only catch, I didn't have my mic in during my recording because, as you guys probably know at this point, my mic is broken, so I'm drilling because this was, by far, the most intense and insane Apex clutch I have ever had in any game of Apex Legends. And it also happens to be my first Season 5 win. So, I'm not going to have as much commentary as I would prefer to do so in-game, so I'm just going to do after commentary of the entire game situation. So, essentially what happened here was that after a huge battle where I ended up having to get, I had to get recalled afterwards, but after that, my teammates kept accidentally dying because of we kept running into squads and getting into fights, which caused a bit of an issue, and I somehow managed to escape all of it, and then I tried to revive one of my teammates at a respawn station, but multiple squads came in on me, and I had to escape once again, so I was forced to try to clutch the entire game, pretty much 1v3 in all the other squads, because this was a ranked trios game. Now granted, this was like the base rank for trios, but it was still quite intense. I have no idea how I got out of the situations that I did, but I somehow managed it. This is probably my second win using Mirage as well. My main reason for going with Mirage now is because they actually did a bunch of changes to him in this season. The main notable difference is in his decoys. First of all, his decoy abilities last for much longer, and they also have an option to control, which basically means that they'll mimic your movements and things of that nature. The only thing they can't do, of course, is shoot. So this makes things even more complicated with trying to manage Mirage's abilities, but the real thing that came in as a lifesaver for me comes with the changes that they made to his ultimate. Now, his ultimate charges much faster now, and the main difference is that essentially it sends out a bunch of decoys and they all move at the same time, doing the same mimic ability that comes from his normal tactical ability. The only difference now is that Mirage doesn't go invisible when this happens. I mean, he goes invisible when he starts it, but he easily recloaks the moment that everyone starts moving around. So it basically becomes impossible to try to keep track of where the real decoy is, or the real version is. So, yeah, it got pretty intense. So, I'm going to go ahead and cut a bit in the video and show off where things started getting really bad. Okay, so here was where things started getting insane. So, I ran into this other squad while trying to move across the map, and this is where I ended up dying. So, after this, I ended up getting executed by the Watson. For whatever reason, they fell for my decoy, which almost never happens, but it didn't take long for them to discover me, and the Watson finished me off. So afterwards my teammates came in, and even though there was a pretty good chance that we would have ended up losing, my Pathfinder teammates somehow managed to clutch with an RE45. I'm not entirely sure how, especially when the enemy almost got the drop on him at the last second, but he somehow managed to pull through. So proceeding afterwards, once I get rebooted and I re-enter the map, another squad came in and started attacking my teammates. Meanwhile, I had no ability, so I just had to book it and see if I could find a weapon to somewhat help. During this encounter, both of my teammates ended up going down and getting taken out, so I had to attempt to somehow rescue them, even though I had no gear to work with. And fortune wasn't entirely favoring me, since the only main weapons I came across here were a triple take, and if I remember correctly, I believe a hemlock. I'm not entirely sure, because I'm looking at the footage while I'm also doing my audio right here. So, both my teammates went down. I didn't really have the means to go after them and get any help, and things just ended up getting worse from here, because after I started picking weapons and trying to get myself geared up so I could at least manage things, then another enemy came into the area, so I had to deal with multiple enemies coming in on me. So I had this one here, which I somehow managed to knock successfully. They could have came in through the window and murdered me at any moment, so I didn't exactly expect to survive getting through shields, but I somehow did. I just blocked the door while I attempted to heal, and apparently another squad came in or something like that, so there were 3 squads in battle now, including myself. both my teammates had to get their banners. I somehow confused this Bloodhound enough. I tagged him, but I just left him through all my decoys. I was able to tell where the people were fighting. I don't know how they fell for my decoy there. I somehow managed to get onto the roof, mostly because I was going to attempt to go over and shoot from down there, but someone took the zip line, and I somehow instantly shot him. He must have been really weak or something like that. I went above them. I didn't really get much in terms of damage. I was going to go for my lifeline, but I ran out of time to get them, so I could really only viably get the Pathfinder. Someone that I killed earlier bled out as well, so that seemed to help. So after that, and somehow one of my decoys they finally discovered actually existed, and I made my way to the other respawn beacon and got my teammate. But after that, another squad came in out of nowhere, and my teammate died again. I don't exactly know how, because I just saved them, but they ended up getting killed, so I had to try to go ahead and save them again. I used the escape simply to give myself some more leg room, but somebody must have noticed the real me moving, probably the other decoys went to the floor or something like that, because then they tried to shoot at me through the bloody window. They probably were able to tell that it was not the real me. So I almost got shot. I had to try to escape once again, and I was successful once more. I went to quickly see what the other loot here was, just so I could find something to work with. To be honest, the only main thing I came across was the flatline, which luckily paid out in the end, because I love using the flatline as a gun. So after I dealt with all of that, I had to go back for my teammate, because I just went through all this trouble saving them. I wasn't about to let them die again. Luckily, another squad battle happened at the same exact time, so I was able to go ahead and put up with them. So I had to be extremely careful here, as I didn't want to get myself spotted again and risk getting my entire team murdered for the third time. So I used the zipline to go behind them. I don't know how I wasn't spotted. Luckily no one was on top. They must have been inside the building, because I definitely heard their voices. I used the decoy twice, basically, the normal one and the other one, and that somehow screwed up with the enemy. And while I did get the beacon again, I didn't ever get to use it, because the other respawn beacon that I tried to use, well, you'll see in a bit, but I got into probably the hardest encounter that happened in this entire game. Because while I wasn't entirely weak during it, I didn't really have much that I could do, because I ended up getting the worst half of a annoying pincer that took place. So another thing that happened was that I also got, another team came behind me. I somehow got them with the decoy. Then they tried to shoot at me, but luckily they missed. I had to use the decoy escape again, simply just to be careful. Luckily, my old charge is extremely fast. That's the best part of this update. So that makes Mirage more viable. And here's where things got annoying. So someone came up over there. I went to try to snipe them, but then I get shot in the back, because all of a sudden I get pincered from the other squad from earlier. So I have to try to escape and not get myself murdered. For whatever reason, I got extremely lucky and managed to dodge death, even though there was a very good chance I could have gotten myself killed there. So my adrenaline was going insane. I was screaming. I was freaking out. I didn't have my mic on, so you wouldn't be able to hear anything that was going on because it's broken. But I was still in like a terrible situation. Someone shot in front of me, so I was forced to move again. At this point, I was very sure I was going to be dead, because like I didn't have anywhere to go. I had one other squad behind me, and they were in a battle with a different squad. There were the two squads fighting here. They used up the respawn beacon, so I didn't get a chance to save my teammate. And I didn't really have anywhere to go. I was trapped. I set a decoy down here just for good measure, but then noticed another squad battling here, and they were ridiculously close. So I couldn't risk going over there and causing even more issues. So then I tried to go back up. I was still very sure I was going to end up dead. Conveniently, there was like one other person here, a Loba. I somehow managed to get some hits on him. I tried to use the sniper with a choke on it, but unfortunately I had terrible aim, so I didn't really get anything off then another shot. So I couldn't get a kill here. Then the other teammate came in and made things worse, so at that point I had to book it. I still assumed the other squads were going to be nearby, so I just prayed that I would be able to get through without being spotted. The squad over here was now fighting the little building, which gave me enough time to slide underneath this one. Now, at this point, of course, I don't really have any cut footage or things of that nature, because here, I was just in, like, crackdown mode since I had no idea what I was going to do. There were 5 squad left. I was pretty much on my own. I had a squad fighting down there, the squad up there fighting. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. People were getting downed. I decided to go ahead and search for a bit more loot so I could handle myself, which would come in handy later, as people were sniping and battles were taking place all over the map. I had no idea how I was going to handle anything here. I did manage to send out a decoy and get something decent going, but I didn't really have much in terms of luck. And this is where things started getting intense. We were left with 3 squads, basically, so I had 2, pretty sure I was against 2 full squads on my own. My teammates were still here for whatever reason. I guess they were watching me to see how I would hold out. I didn't really have much that I could work with. I mean, I had my triple take, but I was very inconsistent, so I doubt I would be able to do anything with it. And I didn't have an actual sniper scope, so I wouldn't have much luck with that either. Once I heard the 2 teams starting to fight again, that's where I knew I had to do something. I mean, it was either that or end up getting pulverized by the teams later. People started going down pretty quickly as I made my way over. I was intending to pick them off as they were busy reviving, and conveniently, luck ended up favoring me as one of the squads got eliminated by the time that I reached there, which left me on a 1 versus 3 situation that I somehow pulled through. I conveniently had an arc star, and for whatever reason, I managed to land it close enough to get 1 knock and disable all of their traps. I had trouble getting through here and also taking out a teammate. They had a Mirage on their team as well, so they clearly used that to escape. I tried to go around to get a kill here, but for whatever reason I couldn't get through the door. So I had to try and kill them twice, which worked successfully. And then I had to deal with the other Mirage. So I didn't know where they were, I just know they messed around. They happened to be in the corner, and on the verge of death, I somehow managed to aim perfectly and get the kill. So after all of that trial and tribulation and almost getting wrecked several times, I somehow pulled the clutch for a win with 4 kills in total. So yeah, that happened, I guess.